Grace Emmons. Welcome to the Fieldswell Podcast.
Thank you for having me.
It's my pleasure. I'm so pumped to have you here today. You and I met a couple months back at Skylar Sorkin. Shout out to the Regardless Queen at her soiree in LA. We were both on a panel talking about wellness in general, but I love to see how many different viewpoints there can be on the same subject. And so that's why I'm pumped to have you on here today to dive a little bit deeper on your story and to share with our audience what you're really about and what you help people do in their day-to-day lives.
Amazing. Thank you.
So to start, what is it that you do and how did you get here? Because I think my wellness story started with like overcoming my own challenges, my own traumas, and really learning from those and helping other people who are going through something similar. So walk us through the path that got you to where you are today.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely had to overcome my own challenges, which is what inspires me to help other women on a similar path. So I resonate with you there. For me, I had gone really far down a career path that I thought was the right one. I studied biomedical engineering in undergrad at USC, and I was working in pharma and biotech and consulting and sales and like this high powered job, flying around the country, selling these big multi-million dollar projects. And I was dating a guy that was like he was a hot shot in the circles we were in, but it was really the wrong relationship. We were really mismatched. There was a lot of infidelity. And in my job, I started to get really burnt out. And it was, I had this life that on the outside looked like everything was going really well. I was making a lot of money. I had the boyfriend. I was, like on the outside, it looked like I had kind of done everything you're supposed to do in life to
Sure.
be successful. But yet on the inside, I hit a rock bottom. I think it was precipitated by something with the relationship, but it's hard to even separate out um, when everything just starts coming crashing down. So there was a point when I was cheated on by this boyfriend and humiliated in front of everybody, like he cheated on me with somebody that we all knew.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like this, stab into my back. And yet I was having so much trouble walking away. I started feeling anxious. I couldn't stop thinking about him and what was going on with the other girl. And I experienced anxiety for the first time in my life. I started to experience chronic pain in my shoulder that no doctor could help me with. Of course, in hindsight, it all makes sense and adds up. But at the time, I didn't think it was at all related. And I was just burning myself out in my job. I started abusing Adderall to keep up with the fast pace. I was
Mm-hmm.
working probably 60-hour weeks, taking red eyes every week. And, you know, in a job that I really didn't care about, that really had, if anything, I had kind of realized wasn't just misaligned. It wasn't just a lack of purpose. It was actually misaligned with what I had originally intended in doing, which was helping people heal and helping people be well. And we were perhaps doing the opposite of that in
Yeah.
the industry I was in.
Yeah.
And so my big shift moment was I went in for a Reiki session. I thought I was
Mm.
going in to help with the chronic shoulder pain. And what I didn't realize was it was like night and day walking out of that session. I felt like this weight had lifted. I felt like the sky cleared and like the seas
Wow.
parted. And all of a sudden, I snapped back into the present and that anxiety was gone. And I felt so alive and so fully myself, like more
Mm-hmm.
myself than I had remembered feeling in so long. And
Yeah.
not only did that pain dissipate like magic, but I just like it was this moment of, oh my gosh, how horrible have I been feeling every single day? Like now I feel amazing. It was like taking a drug or microdosing or
Wow.
something. I was like, oh
Yeah.
my God, what is this level of consciousness that I just reached?
Right.
And so it led me down a rabbit hole of learning
Mhm.
everything there is to know about energy healing and this whole
Mhm.
spiritual journey that I went on. And anyway, we can dig much more into that. What
Yeah.
what the energy healing did for me was really wake up my intuition and my inner guidance system. So what I'm really passionate about helping women is to start new chapters in their life and in career that are more aligned to a higher sense of purpose, that allow them to be more authentically, fully free and healthy
Yeah.
and well, um,
Yeah.
and to activate their intuition and inner knowing to help them find what that is and then help them bring it to life.
Mhm. Mhm. Beautiful. Well, thank you for sharing your story with us. And I love how you are now using it to help others. I believe that many of us, after we graduate college, we're so focused on ensuring whatever we're doing looks good on paper, but we're not checking in with how it actually makes us feel.
Yep. Yeah.
And that's a really big realization. And it takes a lot of people to own the fact that whatever they thought they needed to do isn't what they really want to do. And to be able to change everything and start to walk a new path, it takes a lot of courage.
Yes, definitely. And I think, I had obviously decided how I was defining success was based off these criteria that I had taken on from society around me
Yeah.
rather than radically defining what success would mean to me.
Mhm.
And in this
Mhm.
second life of,
Yeah.
I'm now an entrepreneur, I'm a transformational intuitive coach, and I am a mother of 2 and a wife, and I
Wow.
also own
Yeah.
a small retreat center in Topanga Canyon. And I think what I've done in this second half of my life is just been radical about how I define success for myself, what that looks like. And, it's things like working as little as possible now for me
Yeah.
as a mom of 2, right? So
Right.
even if I could make twice as much money to work twice as much time, like, now it's about, okay, how can I really optimize the time I spend to be highest value? And
Mhm.
just kind of redefining all of the metrics, thinking about the biggest impact I can have to the people around me. And you're exactly right. Like, what makes you feel good in your day to day? I realized
Mhm.
when I was deep in that other career path that actually what gave me the most joy when I was consulting clients and selling these big programs and projects, what I really liked was in the one-on-one meetings with my clients when I was helping to solve their problems and when we were building a relationship and when I was experiencing that, for them to reflect back to me like, wow, this is exactly what we needed. Thank you so much. Thank you for the help. Like, that's
Mhm.
actually what really lit me up. So to then find a career where I can work with people in that way all the time and day in, day out, there's nothing better than that.
Yeah. And how do you get a client to shift from this notion? You watch them performing, maybe they're burning out, feeling like they need to achieve a certain metric or goal to impress others around them, to instead getting them on their desired path. How do you help them make that shift?
I have a methodology that I bring all of my clients through, and it's based in the journey that I took myself through, which for me was, spiritual study. I did both traditional schooling and non traditional schooling. So, what I mean by
Mhm.
that is I went back and got my master's degree in
Mhm.
clinical psychology from Columbia University and simultaneously was studying, astrology with Debra Silverman and doing all my
Mhm.
Reiki trainings and studying Kabbalah at the Kabbalah Centre. And I led myself through this spiritual, introspective journey to really
Mhm.
understand who I was, what I really
Mhm.
wanted, what my purpose is, what I'm designed to do, how I'm designed to help others, and to really activate my inner voice and inner knowing to help be the guide all along the way, healing my feminine energy and being more in touch with that. And so I bring my clients through this methodology of expanding vision, mastering their mindset, discovering their soul blueprint, activating the inner guidance system, healing, the feminine energy, and then next level embodiment. And so it's really a process based in so many schools of thought that helps someone. I've had people come to me and they say, wow, I love this. Oh, you can help me manifest a whole next exciting chapter, or, I've helped entrepreneurs start their businesses or all sorts of things. And they're like, well, what if I don't even know what I want to do? Like, what if I don't know
Yes,
what
that
I
was
want to
going to
do
be my
next?
question. Many
Yes,
don't know, and it's a harder standing point. I love when clients come to me and they're like, "I see the vision, help me get there." But there are individuals who don't even know where to start.
definitely. So this is where things like the energy healing being infused in is super powerful. Reiki and the energetic work that I use, it's amazing for turning on your intuitive sight. It's amazing for quieting down the logical mind, which oftentimes will get in the way. It'll block you
Yeah.
from really envisioning what it is you really want, because we've done that all our lives, right? We started off super imaginative and we had all these crazy ideas and imaginary friends and we could play make believe.
Mm.
And then as we grow up, we're told like, no, that's too much. No, that's not real. No, this is,
Mhm.
logic. This is realistic. And we kind of put these like blinders on and filters on over our broader intuitive sight, over that third eye.
Yeah.
And funny enough, I talked
Yeah.
about the third eye the first time we met.
We ha
So we can
we
so
have to bring this back up because the topic was Botox, because there was a plastic surgeon at our event speaking on the panel, and we were talking about Botox. And many of
yes,
us are wellness junkies and love wellness, but we also get Botox. And you
yes.
were like, "No, because you're literally shooting it straight into your third eye." So can we bring that back into the chat?
Sure, I agree. It's funny that it came full circle that way, 100%. And look, no shame, anybody out there getting Botox into your forehead. I know so many women are, especially in Southern California. Most of my friends, most of, my sisters, everybody I know. But when I had gotten to this point a couple years ago where I'm like, oh, everybody around me is doing Botox. Should I be doing it? I can kind of notice the
Mhm.
lines, sometimes depending on what face I'm
Yeah.
making. And I was really going down the path, like looking up places to go and what it would be about. I had this moment that a friend asked me. She said, look, Grace, you keep talking about how you have to do this because it's what everybody else is doing. Is it really what you want to do? And I said, no, it's not really what I want to do. I feel like I have to.
Mhm.
I feel like I need to keep up. And that was a huge aha for me. So it really made me stop and think about it. And then that night, I had a powerful dream. And look, dreams are a way that our intuition communicates with us. And
So true.
sometimes it's like you can be aware of it, you can not be aware of it, but it's an amazing place to receive intuitive messages. And I had this whole powerful dream, and it was like one of those that you just really wake up and remember. And in it, I literally felt something being injected into my third eye, and it froze, like opened my third eye and then froze it still. And I woke up and I said, "Oh my God, I feel like I just got Botox." And it made me realize I would have been getting it into my third eye. I also, from that point on, was very aware, and I felt like I was able to relax the space between my eyes. I
Yeah.
I felt like I got energetic Botox, and it made me realize like, oh, whoa, there are other things we can do to be aware, consciously aware of where we're holding tension in our face. And, besides just jumping right to
Injecting a
injecting a
toxin.
toxin into your
Yeah.
face. But more
Yeah.
than that, the takeaway was, wow, everybody's doing this right into our third eye center. And the third eye
Mhm.
is responsible for our intuitive sight, that higher level vision, that sight that
Mhm.
can see beyond what is just in front of us in the here and now. So, speaking about feeling blocked, if people say, I don't even know what I would want, maybe there's some work for you to do on opening your third eye. That could look like taking a little break from the Botox over here for a little while, right? Maybe just for some amount of time while you do this work, while you open up into the vision. It can also look like detoxing certain things out of the diet, like avoiding fluoride and, you
Mhm.
know, um, food additives and excess sugar. And, there's a lot of like energetic um, practices and tools that I teach to help open that up as well.
Mhm. Yeah. So what is your favorite non-fluoride toothpaste?
Oh, I've tried a few now. I have Boca for my daughters because they have nice flavors, like orange, like
Okay.
an orange flavor, but I use Bite because it's also the 2 for 1, that it's like
Yeah.
sustainable and
Yeah.
refillable. I don't know if you're aware. I mean, it sounds like maybe you have
I'm not familiar with
some.
that brand, but I do know about fluoride, and I do know about how these different additives and chemicals can be lowering our vibrational frequency, which is a lot of what we're talking about here. And I was just at a lunch with some different thought leaders, and we were just talking about how powerful the frequency of having fun is, and how if we
Mm.
could all focus on having more fun, it would raise our vibrational frequency. And who doesn't want to have more fun?
Oh, 1,000%. So it's funny, there's this like graph or scale of the human emotions on the frequency scale. I don't know if you've ever seen this. And joy is one of the highest up at the
Yeah.
top, joy, love, enlightenment, and like ecstasy, right? And these are things that we can
Yeah.
really get to just by having fun in our lives. And
Yeah.
I actually want to mention one funny story because just the other day, speaking of the Botox and the natural beauty and having fun, I was celebrating my 35th birthday a few weeks ago, and I was out at a Bells Beach in Venice, and I ran into this group of 21-year-olds in the bathroom, and they were talking about sex or something, and so I commented just like
Yeah.
being silly. They're like, "Oh my god, I love your dress," and we just started chatting, and I'm like, "Oh yeah, I'm here celebrating my birthday." They're like, "How old are you?" And I say 35. And I kid you not, I have never, this is like the best experience for me, but like I have never been so fangirled over as much as these girls telling me, "Oh my God, you do not look 35. You look 25." They're like, "Wait, you have kids? What?" They're like, "What is your secret? What do you do? What's your skincare routine?" They were giving me like revving me up, pumping me up. It was so funny. My husband and friends, when we came out of the bathroom, they're like, "Wow, we love this for you." But these, it was so funny because I had to look at these girls, these 21-year-olds, and they're all just like gazing up at me, like, "What is your secret?" And I go, Really, to be honest, it's to love yourself and love your life. I,
Yep.
I can't, I
Yeah.
can't whittle it down. If you want to know my secret, that's it. I love myself so much that I take care of myself. I love my life so much that I'm radical about designing it and making it
Yeah.
exactly the way I want it to be. And that in itself is so much more powerful than any skincare routine or beauty hack that you can find, because that's that radiance of your soul, shining out from within, and it's seen and it's felt. So
Yeah.
anyway, just wanted to add that.
It's so true. I like to say you are with the person that you're going to spend the rest of your life with, and that's you. And so the sooner you can make that a really enjoyable place to be within yourself and love on yourself and be your own biggest fan, the better success you're going to have at anything that you do. Your relationships, your career, your spirituality, you're on this journey with you. And I haven't fully come to the answer of what it is that stops people from loving themselves, whether it be their upbringing, whether it be, being riddled with fear or anxiety. But the sooner you can make the decision to love yourself, the better.
Yes, absolutely. I like to, with my clients, part of how we tackle self love is that soul blueprinting that I mentioned. We look at the natal chart, the human design chart. What I find that it helps people do is it helps give them permission for who they are and why they're the way they are. And it sort of
Mhm.
unlocks this level of like acceptance of self when you can see, like, "Oh, wow, I am so unique and I was made perfect and I came into this life with these gifts and these strengths and also weaknesses, but like what a beautiful, snowflake I am." And when people kind of have the reasons, why they are the way they are, it can
Mhm.
oftentimes help people find a sense of love and acceptance. So if anybody, I'm sure your listeners are into things like that, but if yeah.
And here's what's coming to me. It's like forgetting who we feel the need to be and instead just being who we are. And you got there through burning out by trying to be who you felt like you needed to be. And that's how you went on the long journey to becoming who you really are. What is your tip for our listeners who are feeling burnt out, who are feeling like they're at a roadblock? They don't even know what their purpose is, what their mission is. How do they begin that journey?
Yeah, a fun way to start that's just coming to mind. I mean, speaking of that, frequency of joy and fun is you can even just make a quick list. Start a list of things that I used to love when I was a little kid and just start
Mhm.
listing out. Maybe you can bullet 10 things. Was it singing? Was it dancing? Was it like playing on the playground? Was it whatever it was? And list those out. And then, ask yourself, like, how many of those are you doing right now? And then what if you actually just give yourself 30 minutes, an hour, and like fuel your soul with one of those things you just listed out? Because when we do those things we love, when we do those, we have so much information about who we really are and who we came here to be in us when we're a child. And so if you can kind of go back to that inner child state,
Mhm.
it can oftentimes remind us, we kind of, it's like a remembering, right, of who we
Yeah.
are. So
Yeah.
that's an easy way. Just do some things you used to love to do. And it sounds so simple, but yet how many of us are taking the time?
Yeah, keeping that inner child alive. And for me, that's been spending more time outdoors, like walking barefoot in the grass, like
Mm.
just admiring nature, playing with my puppy.
Yeah, yeah, the presence, yeah, there's so little we're doing that is, everything today on the electronics and the phones and the busyness is all keeping us out of the present. Anything that'll bring you deeply into the present moment will help you remember who you are as well.
Yeah. So you're being regarded and being known for these new set of rules for success that women need to know. I don't know if you've already covered some of them, but I'd love for us to get into that so you can share with our listeners what you've been focused on creating.
Well, it's not a list of rules that I'm defining. It's more about helping each individual define their own rules, right? The radical
Mm-hmm.
reclamation that they are the creator of their life and career, and really being radical about what they choose to prioritize. And so oftentimes when I work with women, it's through these big transitions and changes, and opening new chapters, whether that's a big career pivot or launching a business or doing just kind of a revamp to their life. I've worked with women that are, shifting into motherhood, and that certainly will start a new chapter, whether you want to or not, right? And it causes you to fully reassess, um, yeah, just everything and what it means for you in your career and at home. Yeah, I'm just super passionate about helping each individual woman move through that transition in a way that she comes out
Yeah.
the other side more empowered, more fully alive as her full self, and more excited and joyful and confident. Um, so yeah, that's what I'm about. That's the movement I'm making, empowered women that are creating
I
their
love
lives with
it.
intention.
And it really is helping them define what success means for them in their next chapter of life. And that doesn't have to stay fixed. Like our identity doesn't have to be fixed. We can become various versions of ourselves through this life as we become more passionate about X, Y, or Z and fully decide to lean in and pursue that.
Oh, absolutely. The reason I started calling myself a transformation coach, it's always funny. I've had so many different titles and I've always had so much trouble even landing on one title because
Yeah.
I feel like such a multifaceted. I mean, and
Hmm.
we all are,
I'm
right?
with you. I'm right there with you.
Multifaceted,
Yeah.
multi-passionate. It's like, how do I put under one name all that is? And so it's, Grace Emmons, I am all of these things. And that I've gone through so many transformations and stages through my life when I look back, from those early days of the corporate grind and having really climbed that corporate ladder to the point
Hmm.
where, like I was making $300,000 as a 27-year-old kid, like with an expense account and an
Hmm.
apartment in New York, and like really like had reached this kind of pinnacle of success in so many ways that I had defined it. And then the next phase was the stepping into Grace Emmons as a healer and launching the first iteration of my business. And kind of, I think of
Yeah.
it as the pendulum swings. It swung
Hmm.
from that hardcore corporate, you know, uh, badass to then this soft feminine. That was around the time that I had my first daughter. And I'm like, oh, I just want to be a Reiki healer. And I had my Reiki studio in Topanga Canyon,
Yeah.
and people would come out and see me in person. And it was this like slow, gentle, deeply spiritual time. And it was, the business wasn't about money. It was about just helping people. And I didn't care that it was small. And then
Yeah.
that again shifted at some point to wait, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it all the way. And I'm going to,
Right.
why shouldn't I scale my business to multi six figures? Why shouldn't I be a voice that can be making a bigger impact in this world, bigger than just the few clients seeing me in person, and really going global with a movement? And so I've gone through these transitions every step of the way. And so I've seen, it's really an evolution of self that allows you to, in every chapter, become more fully you and more more abundantly thriving in every phase, in every
Totally.
way. Yeah.
I think numerous times in our lives we'll go through the process of metamorphosis, like this caterpillar in the cocoon into a butterfly over and over and over again. And it's
Yeah.
really beautiful to watch and to witness and to hear your story. I want to hear more about the Topanga Canyon retreat space that
Oh,
you've created.
yes, yes. So it's been 6 years now, and we built on it a bit. So it's
Hmm.
phase 1 was just this little bungalow,
Hmm.
next door to our home in Topanga, but, totally separate. And I had this vision. We built a, Reiki healing studio, and we had this little, like, bungalow cottage, and so people could come out and enjoy the healing powers of nature. And the energy in Topanga Canyon, if you've ever been, it's oh my gosh, it's magical. It's a
Hmm.
really special place, a sacred place.
Yeah.
And so to be able to host people and for them to experience that energy and to relax and unwind, and we don't have cell signal in Topanga. Like really, it's
Love,
this
love.
unplug, right? This amazing unplug moment, and for people to put their feet in the grass. And then over the course of the years, we expanded, bought the property next door, set up a gorgeous tiny home, and have a whole retreat property there with a pool and cactus garden and a yurt tent. And we've had, retreats there and weddings and baby showers and proposals
So
and all the things.
incredible. Yes.
It's been very magical. And especially in the work I do, certainly getting to lead workshops and retreats and things there. And so if anybody wants to come out for a visit, please do. Topanga Canyon Oasis, come visit
We'll
us.
link we'll link all of it in the show notes. And when you say Reiki healing, for those who aren't familiar, is that energy healing?
Yes. So Reiki is a form of energy healing. It's a Japanese hands-on energy healing that was popularized by Dr. Mikao Usui. It has a whole history. But really, it's just one lineage of teaching what it means to tap into, first of all, our intuition. It's a very intuitive form
Mhm.
of healing.
Mhm.
It works through our intention and it works through compassion. So, really, it's channeling your loving energy into yourself or a person or a room or a system or whatever it is. And the amazing realignment and balance that comes about when we let all that flow in. And interestingly enough, it sounds so woo, right? But I
Mhm.
actually, this is what I spent most of my time in my master's researching, and found that there is actually a great deal of evidence supporting how powerful Reiki and other energetic modalities like this really are. And however, I don't know how nerdy you want to get with it, but if you
Yeah.
learn about quantum mechanics and the way that like this universe appears to work one way, where this table is matter and it's hard and it's firm and it's
Mm.
immovable, but really it's made up of a bunch of tiny, teeny tiny atoms that are really just balls of energy and moving energy. And so when you realize that we're actually just in a sea of energy, and we
Yeah.
are a collection of particles that are in that,
Mhm.
but we're vibrating. And then when we come in contact with other things, so when you start to really understand that that is the true nature of this reality, and that we probably can only perceive about 1% of what is really going on in any given moment,
Mm.
these things like, oh, channeling in energy that can bring the system back to balance, it starts to really make a lot more sense. And um, so I bring this modality into everything I do. Like I said, my business has evolved a lot, and now I'm in the phase of bringing this movement of feminine empowerment and creating our lives and business to thrive, to the masses globally. But I still bring Reiki into everything I do, whether it's,
Yeah.
meditations built into my programs, or just infused in what I'm teaching, and how I help activate people through, the activation. So it's less of me sitting with a client with my hands on their body these days, but it's truly infused into all the work I do, and why I think it's truly an amazing tool for transformation,
Yeah.
because it brings any system back to its true natural state.
Sure. Sure. I mean, I feel like I've been referring a lot to it as quantum physics. If everything is energy, if we want love, more love in our lives, the best way to do that is to be loving, because you will attract at the frequency at which you vibrate. So if you want success, be hardworking. If you
Yeah.
want love, be loving. And I'm curious from your point of view, how Reiki kind of fits into that.
Oh, absolutely. You're spot on. I mean, in the first iterations of my business, so I'm now my brand is Forward with Grace, but back in the day it was
Mhm.
Spirit Forward Healing, and I did Reiki sessions. And how I started every session was we would talk and we would figure out what was going on with the person, what they really like, just an intention they wanted to set, and we would whittle it down to maybe one word or one phrase, and
Mhm.
and that would be the guidance for the session. And I would always say it was, how do you want to walk out of this session feeling?
How do you
And
want to
then
feel?
what
Yeah.
we're able to do is really activate them into that energy. And then it's just like you said, okay, you want to attract love into your life? Great. Let's get you supercharged in the love. And they would literally walk out and say, wow, I've never felt so in love, in my entire
Yeah.
day. And then
Yeah.
amazing things happen, right? Then people meet their soulmate because they attracted them in, or whatever it is. And so we still use that intention setting. Um, yeah, it's almost like a like magic, if you want to any intention you want to set,
Mhm.
you could use energy healing almost as this like
Mhm.
alchemy to help you shift into that state. So it's really special.
So I'm curious for you, as we begin to wrap up, I love giving our listeners an actionable takeaway for anyone who's looking to tune in more to their intuition or their intention. What is an action step they could take today to kind of begin this practice?
You said, what could they do to tune into their intuition? And I didn't really talk about this yet, so this is a good place to mention it. Intuition, like I said, is a huge part of what I teach and use, and it happens to just be a gift that I have, that I'm highly intuitive, and that I have many different ways of accessing intuition. It was also, mind you, something that I got totally disconnected from during that phase. When I ended up hitting that rock bottom, it was because I didn't realize until it turned back on that I had been so out of touch with my own inner voice, with my own inner guidance. Like I had been, it was so much external noise that I couldn't hear it, right? Because sometimes it's a quiet, or it's a very low level signal, and you have to be able to um, kind of quiet the noise to be able to hear what it's saying. But I find people ask me all the time, how do I hear my intuition? How do I listen to it? How do I follow it? So I have a quiz that I would love to share, and we can drop it in the notes. And it actually helps you find out your intuitive type, your intuitive style, because here's where a lot of people get stuck. You say, okay, you say, listen to the voice within, and you say, it's quiet, or you say, but like only a portion of people are hearing a voice. And
Mhm.
then another portion of people are feeling these subtle senses in the body. And another portion of people are going to receive through dreams and signs and symbols. And other people are going to receive through these very clear but grounded knowings that they can't explain, right? So it comes through in these different forms, and it's about really learning your own intuitive language and your own style, so that then you can begin to master it, trust it, use it. So I would say a great place to start is this quiz. It's free. And then I find that as soon as people take it, they're like, oh my gosh, yes, that's me. And then they start becoming more aware, right, of
Yeah.
those intuitive signals, those intuitive hits. So
Mhm.
that right off the bat will get you a little bit more activated in that way.
Amazing. We'll link the quiz in the show notes. And it very much sounds like once you start to walk the path appears. So, for anyone listening, if you're feeling like you're not very in tune with your intuition, once you start to study that more, once you start to take the quiz, once you get more information on this, it is the process of becoming more intuitive, and you will be blown away by what's possible when you are able to trust your own intuition.
Absolutely. Thank you for saying
Mhm.
that, because you're
Yeah.
100% right. Yep.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. So, Grace, thank you so much for coming on today. Is there anything else you'd love to leave our listeners with before we wrap up?
I don't know. I feel like saying some motivational moment. Oh, I guess, well, it's going to come out after Lionsgate. I've been all in this Lionsgate energy right now, and
Mhm.
tuning into like my highest path vision, and I just wanted to say something about, our highest path to abundance is through our purpose. So if that can activate anybody to be emboldened and empowered to really go after what it is that you see as your mission in your life, it is going to be your quickest path to more abundance than you can imagine. So
Mhm,
maybe I'll
mhm.
just leave them with that
The
takeaway.
sooner you can take action, the better to pursue your
Yes.
purpose.
And
Yes.
just the yep, just start where you can. Just take a
It's
step.
what ultimately brought us together is
Yeah.
us each pursuing our purpose. That's how we ended up meeting in LA. If not, we wouldn't have been there. Grace, where can our listeners find you?
I'm on Instagram at Forward with Grace. That's Forward W Grace. And the website's Forward with Grace as well. You can also check out Topanga Canyon Oasis at Topanga Canyon Oasis
Mhm.
on Instagram. Book a stay, come out and see us. I run a membership program called The Overflow, where I help women get more in touch with their intuition, get more intentional with their lives so that they can live the life and career of their dreams. And so if that's something that intrigues you, check that out. I'd love to have you in there.
Fantastic. Thank you. I've hiked Topanga Canyon, but next time I'm coming to see your wellness space and retreat. So
Yes,
thank you so
please.
much for coming on today. I'm grateful to know you and so inspired by the work that you're doing.
Thank you. Ditto.